Hi Sloths, and welcome back to not Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion HD renovation like I literally was just about to say. Oh, old habits die hard. Anyway, welcome back to Ebon Light. And in the last episode we started the game, we got to meet Rylan, who is a kinda shady sounding pirate. And in this episode we are going to explore Vanya's hut, and Vanya is obviously our aunt or auntie. I don't really know which one people use most. I wonder what people do say the most, either aunt or auntie. For me, I think I usually say auntie. I don't know. Anyway, Auntie Vanya. What button is it? I'm already forgetting the buttons. Oh, it's clicking the mouse. Oh, my back. Oh, my back's killing me again. Anyway, no one answered back. Our hut was humble, though I understood this only in the way that I understood every the words. If you heard that, that was my dog. My dog decided to have himself a little shake as he got up off of the ground there. And now he's sniffing around. Anyway, let's ignore my dog and continue with the game. I don't even know where I was, so I'm just going to skip that. I'm going to get rid of that. No, how do I get rid of this? Because I don't want this here. Oh, I can just do that. This looks like a little sub-menu where you can easily go to, skipping scenes, go into your settings, lock in the scene, I think that is. Or you can just go here and go to the settings there or whatnot. Anyway. But elsewhere was elsewhere. Here in Edric, which is a place that these people are from, I wonder if is there a place here in... Strangely enough, there is no Edric in this. Oh well, whatever. Here in Edric, our hut was something to be proud of. No reason to feel shame or envy. Aunt Vanya was, in fact, very proud of our hut. But looking at it, the only thing I could see was fence in need of mending. Yep. That fence seriously does need quite a bit of mending. I wonder what that's supposed to be. Is that leather or is that just like sheets? I don't know. Oh, wrong button again. It had been threatening to give way for weeks, though nothing new. It had been in one state of disrepair or the next since I was a child. Do I kick it? Try to fix it for a 230-second time, or ignore it? I think the first time I just tried to fix it for a 230-second time, so this time I'm just going to ignore it. The shambled fence was immortal in its decay, immune to both destruction and restoration. I knew better. There was a soft ruffling of leaves, not trees, from somewhere behind me. What are you doing? See, I knew she was like this old-looking woman. Hello, Aunt Vanya, you startled me. Where were you? None of your business. Hello, Aunt Vanya. Find anything interesting? No, you didn't answer me. You damn child. Why did I ever raise you? Ha! Oh, I just got home as well. You're home early, aren't you? I had a lucky day. Oh wait, no, that's me. I had a lucky day. Sure, I took over ramps bright and early. Yeah? Well then, let's see if your luck holds. Switch packs with me and finish the foraging. What? That's not fair. Save your breath. I have business in the village tonight and my back is already sore. So is mine. My back is killing me right now. I really need some painkillers for that thing. Ugh. Then I'll go. You're lying. What business do you have in the village? I don't care. Yeah, what business do you have in the village? Business? What do you possibly want in the village? You hate going into the village. I hate going into the village too. Me and this Vanya have quite a lot in common. Spooky. We do things we hate when they're necessary, don't we? I don't. What are you going to do? I don't have time to chat, Mavis. Never do you. Not with a whole forest to forage. Oh, my dog's back. Hi, dogs. My dog's name is George, by the way. Well, he's one of the dogs. I have another one called Basil. Maybe I'll show you him someday. Not now, though, because reasons. Anyway, so far the foraging was uneventful. I had my sickle, some mostly empty packs, and a few unimpressive roots that probably should have stayed in the ground a couple more weeks. Not a good forager, we are. Not a good forager. The forest was warm today. It felt nice against my skin. Oh, yawning. Seriously, why do I have to yawn every episode? Not every episode, but definitely the past few episodes. Ugh. I don't know what it is. Ugh. Maybe it's all this talking. I had a right to complain about the added foraging, but if I was being honest, the solitude was nice enough that I was enjoying myself. Yeah, I kind of would love to just be alone for a bit. I'm looking at you, dog. My dog's like hardly ever out of my sight. But I knew the burned forest well. Why is the forest burnt? Someone set fire to it? There was little I would find worth foraging today. Do I keep foraging, explore, or relax? Well, apparently I already know the burned forest like the back of my hand, and there's not really much to keep foraging for. But if I just relax, Aunt Vanya's gonna kick my ass in. So let's just keep foraging anyway. Maybe I will find something of use. Perhaps it was a desire to avoid looking at my aunt's smug face when I returned home with empty packs. See, told you. But I was determined to scrape from these woods as much as I could. The sun was falling, beaming through the trees. It was time to go home. What was that? I am not good at either climbing trees or throwing things, but I think I'm a bit better at throwing things than I am at climbing trees. And I missed. Anyway. And there we are. A strange hooded man. Who's there? Who is it? Who's stalking me? I'll kick your ass. Nothing answered. I was sure I'd seen someone. I ran home. Yeah, who wouldn't run home? That thing's spooky. When I made it home, I found Vanya gone. For once, I miss her terribly. It's not as though our hut offered much safety, not from people. Foreigners did not come to Edric. Mavis? Aunt Vanya! You're home! Yay! What's gotten into you? There was someone in the woods. Was there? A person. A man, I think. Dark clothes. A man in dark clothes. Perhaps it was Porthos. I hope I'm pronouncing these names and words correctly. If I'm not, please don't hate me too much. This is all very, a lot of these names are very fantastical and definitely things that you don't see often at all. No, I called out and he didn't respond. No longer alone. I began to feel a bit calmer. Though I was still plenty terrified, I was actually very curious. I was ready to defend myself. I was ready to kick his face in. Oh, I was. I was going to kick him in the head. That's right, I was going to kick him right in the head. We are a violent bunch of sloths. He didn't seem to follow me home. Not that I can tell. Maybe he thought better of it. I motioned to my sickle. Look at you, ready to slice a stranger in two. I don't know if that was supposed to rhyme or if... I don't know. I don't know if that was intended to be a really cool little rhyme or not. Proud? A little. She's proud of us. Proud of us? Yeah, proud of us for being violent sloths. My aunt handed me a warm cup. Here. It smells sweet. Something I wouldn't know because I actually have this issue where I can't smell anything ever. Just a little bit of lore about me, I suppose. Not like it matters. Well, don't get used to it. The sweetness lasted only a moment once on the tongue. The drink had an aftertaste that was quite bitter. Not exactly unpleasant, but strange. I found myself lost in an effort to identify the taste. After it was all gone, I finally asked, "What did you put in it?" "Some of that spice." "Some... what?" "Ryland's spice? You just put it in me drink?" "It smelled like it would be good for it. You seem to have agreed. Drank it all without complaint." "But I was gonna..." "A hot drink always calmed me down, and this is the thanks I get. Such a rapscallion you are, you little bitch." I am being really mean today. Oh, unbelievable. A stalker, an aunt who puts unidentified spice in my drinks without telling me, and an indefensible hut. I went to bed in a foul mood. I fell asleep quicker than usual. It usually takes me about an hour and a half to get to sleep. So I wonder if it took this sloth person about an hour and 20 minutes to get to sleep. Where is it? I'm like trying not to shout because I know my microphone is like right next to me and I don't want it to get extremely loud for you guys. So unfortunately, I didn't wait gently. "Going mad on me, girl? I'll kick your head in." "Not just yet." "No, I think not. I was having a very strange dream though." "What was it about? You just woke up yelling something." "I don't remember. Dreams are funny that way. What did I yell?" I actually keep nightmare journals because I have nightmares pretty much nearly every single time I sleep. And I always seem to remember them. Well, the vast majority of them I remember quite vividly. So I write them down. So I know a little bit of lore about myself, I guess. I am one strange individual. Where is it? That's apparently what we yelled. Everything's certainly been strange lately. I've not forgiven you. I think I'll ask Ryland about that man in the forest. Wonder what I was dreaming. I don't know how you would connect Ryland to that man in the forest. Oh yeah, because they were on the island. Yeah, let's do that. Maybe Ryland would know more about that man I saw yesterday. Maybe he's part of Ryland's crew. Maybe he's just keeping a watchful eye out on us. Assuming it wasn't Ryland in the first place. It wasn't. They looked different. Oh, we got a good look at him. Well, no, not really. It could have been Ryland, but I doubt it. I'll be gone then. Get your work done, Mavis. You leaving? Yeah. Not much choice. Starving is the worst kind of death. Well, there's drowning, there's burning alive, there's literal heartbreak. I have read somewhere that there have been reports where people have actually died of heartbreak, where they actually have a heart attack because of something emotionally traumatic, like heartbreak. So that's definitely something strange. I don't know how true that is, so take that with a grain of salt, or at least 4 or 5 pinches of salt. But yeah, she left promptly, gone before I was even fully awake. I stared after her for a few moments as I realised I need to go back into the forest myself. She was right. Starving is the worst kind of death. I've just listed a bunch of different deaths that are just as bad or maybe even worse. If you don't forage today, you don't eat tomorrow. Besides, I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little curious. Anyway, we are going to quickly ignore that, and I want to save real quick. And I want to look at the compendium, because I want to look at Vanya. Vanya Sloth is not particularly forthcoming with her past. She was never married, has no children of her own, and has no friends to speak of either. But to ask her, this is exactly how she wants it. When Vanya's brother Chorus died, Mavis was 9 years old. Really? I was that young? With her father dead, Mavis was an orphan, and the task of raising the child fell to Vanya. Despite an air of protest, she took on the task faithfully, determined to raise her niece healthy and protected. That's so nice of her. So nice. Kind. Just from the look of her. You kind of wouldn't expect that. She kind of looks like an evil old grandmother. Or something along the sorts. Yeah, anyway. She is not one for nonsense or idle prattle, and she spends most of her time gathering what she can for mere survival. She enjoys the barest of creature comforts, she is easily frustrated, and she lacks the patience required for dealing with the majority of people. That is so much like me. How am I not this person? How is this person not me? Anyway, let's continue. The woods seemed cold and unfamiliar, all sorts of wrong. I couldn't explain why it felt this way. Birds made weird noises, and I hadn't seen anything unusual. Oh, my voice is going. Ugh. I couldn't explain why it felt... I've already just read that. Ugh. I was certain it wasn't very cold, but still a chill stuck to my bones. Each step forward I regret. I considered time and time again turning back, yet I continued forward. I was already trapped. Already in the throes of fate. And this is the guy who was stalking us earlier, whose name we already apparently know is... Oh, I'm going to butcher this name. Leisaga? 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 Lace? 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 Lace it? Leisaga? Leisaga? I'm just going to call him Leisaga. But his name is apparently Leisaga Darthol. Where is it? Then the source of my unease finally revealed itself to me. The stranger waited only a moment before repeating his question. Where is the Cuffin Tall? I couldn't do anything more than stare. Who? Where is it? The man, was it a man, stepped forward with his hand outstretched as though making to grab for me. No, he definitely wasn't human. He didn't move like a human would. He has pointy ears. He's obviously an elf or a Kokiri, you know, from The Legend of Zelda. Maybe he's a Hylian, actually, not a Kokiri. Kokiris don't have long ears. Kokiris are different. Maybe he's Hylian. Run, attack, or speak. Attack! Let's beat the crap out of this guy. I lifted my sickle, lunged, and swung. I wasn't sure what to expect. I had never had occasion to attack anyone before. All that mattered now was getting out of this situation, and I would fight tooth and nail. The man armed with a bow, which he made no effort to retrieve, evaded my swings. He made it look easy. I swung my sickle 3 more times, each time less gracefully than the time before, and each time he manoeuvred out of danger. My strength began to wane, and sensing I was close to exhausting myself, I stopped swinging to reassess my situation. The stranger's face remained plain, almost patient. As easily as he avoided my swings, I had expected him to be snickering. Are you done? Let's try attacking some other way. I realised that swinging my sickle was fruitless, and to try any longer would just spend my energy. I began to rack my mind for something clever, all the while noticing that the stranger seemed to be patiently waiting for whatever I came up with. His patience wasn't coming from a place of kindness nor respect, it was curiosity. Perhaps even the sort of amusement a cat gets watching a bird with a broken wing. It's kind of mean. My eyes darted from tree to tree, then from the ground to the sky. I was desperate for something brilliant, some stroke of genius, and I found nothing. When I realised this, my mind went white. I was abandoned here in this bizarre situation, defenceless. Baby bird. No luck. The stranger disarmed me. Though perhaps you recognise that I am what I am and decided to give up. I don't really know what kind of voice to give him. Something that's more I don't know. I know this character in the future becomes very sassy. So he needs a sassy sort of voice. But first, you're a dead man. And like I mentioned in the first episode with the faces and the unlockable what's the word? Dialogue and choices that you can make depending on your what's it called? This thing here. The charisma meter or the character trait meter, whatever you want to call it. And I'm pretty sure there's like a better way to look at that. I'm sure there is somewhere, I just don't know where. Oh, it's there. Oh, there we go. History, you can get history and inventory, and Trin is currency. You can change your clothes. Oh, I can change my clothes based on the last game. The last time I played the game. Anyway, you get discord, inertia, virtue, daring, doubt, charity, might, rest, cunning, curiosity, charm, tenacity. I can't remember how all this works. I'll explain it in a different video when I actually remember how all this works. So yeah, sorry about that. I know that you're someone I intend to kill. Really? Well, we'll see. Yes, we will. Don't start your display just yet. I'm only barely hopeful that all your bravado will amount to anything more than foolishness, and I don't have time to put you to the test. I expect I've already seen the limit of your ability anyway. What was it he was after? Not that I had any intention to help him find it. I don't know what a cuffing towel is. I wasn't sure how much longer his patience would hold, but I didn't think it would last much longer. Calling it by another name? A small black pouch decorated in ancient Galilean glyphs, containing a precious marrow. A pouch. The spice I got from Ryland was in a pouch that looked a lot like what he described. Not that I knew what Gallian glyphs looked like, but if I had to take a guess, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. Gallian? I'm not sure if it's supposed to be Gallian or Gallian. Usually it's sort of like a 50-50 with these sort of specific words with an apostrophe in like the middle of it. But I don't know. Let's just straight up be honest with him. Are you talking about the spice Riley gave to me? Spice? Oh, you didn't really think... Where is it? I don't understand. I'll make it simple, human. All I want is a fucking coffin towel that was in that fucking pouch, and I am sorry for all this swearing. Oh dear. All I want is a coffin towel. I'm running out of time, and so are you. The coffin towel belongs to me. You have no means to challenge this, and you have no right to. So your options, lucky as you are to even have them, give me the coffin towel or die. Oh, screw it, let's just go for it. It is mine, actually. I traded for it. It is mine. If you really think you can claim something that was never designed to so much as rest in the hands of a human, you'll find truth in this. Gallians never truly ask for anything. You're Gallian and threatening me. I am both. I knew little of Gallians, and nothing helpful. I'd already deduced that this man was far more dangerous than anyone else I knew, and I was out of options. Whatever this coffin towel was, I really hope I'm pronouncing that right as well, coffin towel. I wasn't sure it was worth protecting either. I don't have it with me. Waving his arm, he seemed to be directing me toward home. Was he serious? No, not happening. In response, he reached forward and grabbed my arm. Despite my struggling, I was dragged along. He evidently knew the way. I go home. Waited outside while the elf went into the hut. I briefly entertained the idea of running, but along the way I had noticed the elf's head turn, just slightly from noise to noise. Every bird that chirped, every branch that broke, he observed. I'd also noticed that as we walked, while my feet crunched and cracked, whatever was underfoot, the ground beneath his feet was nearly silent. If I were to try running away, I don't think I'd get far, and I was still sporting bruises from my last go. I had never been in a situation like this. I'd heard about the way people are outside the village. I'd heard that they were cruel and forceful, irreverent, violent. I'd heard they'd steal and hurt on a whim. Isn't that just like everywhere in the world? Life was not forgiving here, nor was Vanya, but this was a different feeling. I'd never experienced it, and I'd never met anyone who wasn't human before. Yet here the first one I meet is now plundering my home for something he claims belonged to him. And how did he get here unseen? Perhaps he had stowed away with pirates. Stowaway? Watch out among the Lalari pirates. Even I knew that the Lalari were known for being bigots. There was a pounding in my ear. The impulse to act was increasing with each beat of my heart. I realised that this might have been my last chance to change my fortune. But there is literally no way we could trap him in. I do know that for a fact because we've already seen what we have on our person and around the hut. The hut hardly is stable at all, so it could literally just kick straight through. So let's call out to a stranger. Did you find what you wanted? No response. Elf? Guess he's apparently an elf. I shouldn't have been disappointed, but I was. Something about the waiting was especially awful, unknowing, somehow worse than the truth. Might be able to... That's when the elf came out of the hut holding a small black pouch, though he didn't look all that pleased. So you found it? What now? Enough! Stop playing the fool! The elf advanced toward me, a few paces, his temper flared. Back off, elf. Get any closer and what? You miserable, bumbling human, curling your filthy fingers in history that doesn't belong to you. What are you talking about? The coffin tall is empty. I watched as he turned the pouch inside out and shook it in a frustrated display. That would mean Vanya used it all. I hadn't even begun to think of the implications behind eating some of what this elf was after. Part of me had been hoping Vanya hadn't actually put the spice, coffin tall, in my drink. What have you done with it? The elf's demand was intense and violent. I stared back in horror. How was I going to explain that I'd eaten? Answer! I watched as the elf dropped the pouch into a pocket in his coat, only to then notice he had simultaneously drawn a small dagger from his hip. Get away from my girl! I was surprised by my aunt, but the elf's gaze remained focused on me. The old woman. What's going on? You two have done something with the coffin tall. Is that the name of the spice that was in that pouch? It is not spice. It is precious, rare, sacred marrow, and it belongs to my people. Well, it's gone. I imagine she'd just be like so nonchalant in that sort of scenario. It's like, well, it's gone now. Fuck off. Go away. The elf's temper boiled over. His pale face grew slightly red, hot with frustration. I had the sense to take a step back. But the elf grabbed me and held the dagger to my throat. Gone? Gone where? I tried to think clearly. If I was clever. She drank it. Drank it? Vanya? I told you, we thought it was spice. I clamped my eyes shut, prepared for the worst. But nothing happened. The elf had taken a step back from me and was staring at me in a curious way. Well, that's it then. Yes, I suppose so. What? Though she hid it well, I could tell that Vanya was surprised that the elf had agreed. So much for history and its offerings. I couldn't believe the elf was so easily satisfied. He'd been so obsessed with the coffin tall, and to find out it was gone, that I drank it, and then to be... We're leaving. Me? You're not taking the girl anywhere. Oh, I am. She drank the coffin tall. The coffin tall belongs to us. She belongs to us. What asinine logic! If you didn't want the spice eaten, you should have kept it closer to home. It was not. You don't have a choice in this. If you didn't want to be subject to the demands of your betters, you would have made yourself stronger. Or perhaps you would have avoided fumbling into history that does not belong to you. But how do you even know we told the truth? You're ready to just abandon? I think it makes as much sense as anything in this deplorable village. You didn't smuggle it anywhere I would have seen. I searched that hut of yours through and through. Don't get in my way. I could tell Vanya wasn't going to back down easily. She seemed calm, but I knew her better than that. I also knew that my aunt was unlikely to achieve anything beyond getting herself hurt. I won't come. Do you think I'll just politely accept this? No, I expect you wouldn't. But do you think I'll just politely accept your refusal? The insufferable nerve of the elf thinking he had any right to force me anywhere was making my blood boil. If he thought I was going to take my pound of flesh... Old one. My attention snapped to Vanya as the elf grabbed her and pulled her toward the hut. I rushed after him, but came to an abrupt stop when the elf put his dagger to Vanya's throat. I understand you're eager to risk your life, but you don't want your aunt getting caught in the fray, do you? You're just trying to even the odds. Don't get cocky. There is nothing even about your odds. 2 of us and 1 of you. Shall I make it 1 of you and 1 of me? You wouldn't dare. Is that so? The elf began pulling Vanya into the hut and I rushed after. I wasn't inside more than a step before the elf had shoved me back out. I didn't go without struggling, but he was stronger. Much stronger. I found myself on the outside of a closed door. The elf and my aunt on the other side. There was the noise of bodies thumping around out inside. I knew this was my last chance to do something, so I started to look around. I only got a few steps before I heard the door open again. The elf had some rope, our rope, in his hands, and after catching one of my wrists, tied it to the other. Do you recognize your situation any better yet? My throat was dry. I struggled when he tied my wrist, but the fight was dying in me. Force my hand if you want. You had no way of stopping me, human. We both know that, don't we? Walking through a forest with the elf at my heel felt like a death march. He hadn't said a word since we begun walking. I didn't choose to break the silence myself either. With my wrist bound tight, the elf followed from a lazy distance. He only stepped forward every now and then to grab my shoulder and nudge me in a different direction. I could tell that that we weren't headed to the words. Can't speak. That we weren't headed into the village, but that we were headed toward the coast. It's my aunt, okay. What did you do to my aunt? I kept her out of her way. What does that mean? It means she's no longer a concern. Did you kill her? Did you kill my aunt, elf? Did you think I was bluffing? Did you think all I said to be bragging? Just answer me. Why should I? I have to know, please. Please, elf. Can't stand not knowing, I have to know. A look of distaste came over the elf's face. Enough. The time for begging has gone. You can't appeal to us anyway. But I have to. I have to know. Why? So I could say whatever quiets you, and you can later wonder if it was all a lie. You could never truly know unless we go back. We're not going back. But enough. I couldn't say anymore. It felt futile and hopeless. I shook at the thought I'd never know. This way. This time instead of nudging me in a new direction, the elf had moved through the trees and called behind for me to follow. I started walking and stared at where the elf had disappeared to. I sent a look over my shoulder and began to consider. What was that? There was a strange noise nearby, and then, for only a moment, I saw the shape of another figure darting through the trees. Were there more? Human! The fear that whoever else was out there. Might be worse than the elf I already had pushed me forward. Elf? And that is where I'm going to leave this episode. Kind of, sort of on a cliffhanger, but I just realised that the recording has literally just gone up to 40 minutes. And that's a long ass episode. So sorry about that. I just got too into the story. I kind of think that this is probably how it's going to be with future episodes. So once again, I'm sorry about that. But anyway, I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe. It's always free. And I'll see you later.